elephant. So this is sort of the second iteration of my little elephant for my experience. And actually, I wish there was a way. Actually, I could differentiate these two. So let's give you a different material, maybe transparent. Yeah, that works. So that's the old one, and this is the new one. And why they look almost exactly the same, actually. And for all intents and purposes, they are. Maybe I wonder what tune looks like. There we go. So that's the tune version, and I'm going to open up the screen so I can see all my keyframes. So if we just isolate it to the old one here, it was, it was fine, totally fine. And especially if you realize that the way this is being treated is that I'm not actually using the form of the elephant. I'm using the mesh itself, and the mesh is giving the game engine, in this case Unity, the information it needs to be able to map the whole body with particles. It's a really beautiful effect. And once again, I want to give all the credit to Kajiro, the Unity master that he is, in terms of starting a project that allows for that kind of particle animation. It's very, very cool. So the main difference between these two versions, this is starting to look very Dumbo, actually, in terms of the musical sequence in Dumbo, if you remember that. For some reason, the trunk wasn't rigged in this version, so I wanted to be able to push that more here, because the trunk is its own character, So, and especially if you imagine an elephant swimming, that trunk is going to be quite mobile. It's dual purpose, right? It's both a snorkel, like inherent snorkel gear, and yeah, it's fascinating to watch a trunk in motion. In fact, let me see if I can find the video that I was originally using. I didn't have video to reference this, but I did for my second iteration here. Try to find it. Hope everyone's well today. I am technically sort of breaking my social media, self-imposed social media fast, but you know what? That's all good. Better to showcase when I can. Been pretty hard at work on my Launchpad, Oculus Launchpad submission, and we are in the final days of that. It's more important that I just have a deadline, to be honest. I can't find the movie for some reason. Is it in videos? I don't think so. Anyways, if I can't find it, that's all right. But it was a scene from this film called The Fall. Beautiful, beautiful movie if you ever get to see it. Just visually, even if you don't like the story, just visually, it's a really, really stunning film. It's a director by the name of Tarsem, and it just has some really like arresting visuals inside of it. One of which is, at one point the main characters escape on an elephant, or at least one of them does. Ooh, what does that mean? No, we're cool. We're cool. Don't think I put it in here. Where is it? Okay, suffice it to say, there's an elephant. He's swimming in slow motion, and I want that feeling to be looped sort of back and forth. Again, this black spot here should go away when I get it into Unity. So if you look at the secondary, the new elephant, you can tell I did play a lot more with not only the trunk itself, but also the ears too. So today what I'll do, and you can also see that I was very liberal with where I filled in details and where I didn't. Because it won't matter. Eye-wise, it really won't matter once you're in the particle version of this. Even the mouth doesn't even come through very much. So, yeah, just being kind of strategic about which parts I want to animate. Oh, see, I'd love to do the tail. So those are the kind of things I want to do today. Just really nice and simple stuff. So we'll just start with one keyframe there. I'll just do that one there. Cool. And for the most part, I really kind of want to just very playful, slow motion. There we go. All the way down. It's too bad. I'm pretty sure I made another bone here, but that's not showing up for some reason. Let's watch that all the way through. So I'm going to bring the light over here. I lit it this way because I kind of want to simulate the feeling of being underwater with my dear Ellie here and sort of get a sense of what it would feel like very, very large like that. And that's kind of where the spatial awareness end of VR comes in. When you're creating experience, I think it's really important to have your own visceral sense of what your creation feels like. It's not that you're just the person and the act of creating it. You're also in the act of experiencing it at the same time. So I think that's actually a pretty powerful aspect of the medium that we don't talk about as much. Okay, so that's about right. I feel like so in the experience you can actually swim around. So you can imagine like if you're the actual user, you could literally swim around the elephant and even float through him. And what's really cool is I've figured out with the help of a really cool package called Haptic Helper that when you cross the boundaries of the elephant, there's a heartbeat that's on the soundtrack, and the heartbeat starts kicking into the actual controllers, which is really sweet. Oh my god, it really is Dumbo in the background with the purple elephant. That's really funny. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with how she's animating. You have to remember that it'll loop back and forth, so it'll be very smooth. Having said that, I do want to extend a little bit more of the animation that. So as I just alluded to, when you're able to touch the elephant. So if you can touch the elephant, it'd be great to be able to trigger a transition animation where, maybe she's a little bit more focused on you, and she stays in one spot. So I might do that after the 3:15 mark, which is right here. Because the cool thing is that you can bring these animations into Unity and then actually chop up the clips from there. As far as I can tell, I don't know how to transition from one clip to another, but it is very possible to do to at least have cuts, so to speak. Like I kind of approach this as an editor from that point of view. Like, how would I want the different like phases of the elephant to come through? So maybe I can do 2 or 3 different states. Right now, let's just focus on that second one. So bring this back up again. I'm going to pull out, let's just say around like the 600 area. That might give it enough. And then I'm going to bring it right around here, 330 mark. I think this is running, it's running 24 frames per second. And then we are going to turn on our recorder. So here you can already see a bunch of different things here, but I'm going to actually let it play out a little bit longer. Maybe when she faces you, it's sort of maybe you're overhead. It's really hard to tell where the viewer would be, but that's the thing. I mean, if I were to learn any sort of machine learning, it would be towards that. Like, how can you draw the head towards the viewer and have it constantly tracked? I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'd love to learn in the coming year. But for right now, Let's just sort of simulate an over where she's kind of just hanging out with you. Let's see how that feels. And I can offset some of those limbs. Right now, I just want them to be, so for example, like this one right here, I can just sort of pull out a little bit more so it feels a bit more natural. Same for the right. Pull it in. And then I want the head to probably come up first. Whoops, what did that do? That was weird. Okay. Maybe I actually can rotate the whole body up in some way so it's a little bit more of a noticeable transition there. By like a little tilt of the head, maybe she's very curious about you. Same with the ears. She's, to be honest, she's really fun to animate because everything on it is, and I should say that this is, I didn't even say what I did this in. This was made in Gravity Sketch first, constructed in Gravity Sketch with the new subdivision tool set, then rigged in Masterpiece Motion, and then now we're in Tvori. So sorry I did not start off this cooking show correctly, but there you have it. Let me also put the camera over here too. It's weird. I've gotten so used to looking at it in VR, but also on a 2D plane like that. It's very natural for me to sort of go in between both. Okay, so when she pulls up, yeah, that's right. That's about what I want. And then maybe the body too. Maybe the whole body is sort of rotating. Whoops. Upwards. Oop. Let's get rid of that. Totally being arbitrary with where that timeline is. I'm just sort of intuitively feeling things out. Then I can pull the ears back again. So even the ears sort of affect the rest of the head there. Pull the just want her to feel like there's like a curiosity there, like, huh. Hey there, human. That, yeah. Have that sort of be the resting idle state there. So the thing, once I get back into Unity, I have to be very aware of like, oh, well, where was her body in that specific moment? And then sort of loop it as a cut, if that makes any sense. Barely makes sense to me. So, okay, and then all the while we can also be moving the legs. Again, offset it when I can. her what? The problem is sometimes I don't know which bone I'm looking at, so I have to be very... Okay, let's see here. It's like a very I kind of like it because she's like doing a little bit of a yoga stretch there. It's very like downward dog, but downward elephant. Oh, that's interesting. So that moves that. That's actually a pretty cool. Let's see how that looks. Oh, it's a good stretch. Then also maybe I can spin it a little bit. Oh no, I don't think I can. Oh no, I totally can. Hold up. So that's what I'll play. I'll play with the spin here. Let's start it from 265. Oh, it's already ready to go. Maybe from here. Yeah, I just want her to feel really relaxed. Little elephant spa. And then spin her back that way. It's so awesome to see. Like, that's why I wish I had the footage to show you. They're so awesomely limber for being so big. And okay, there we go. See, I got to be careful there because I don't know how much that's really deforming her when I export her out of here. So, having said that, let me see where. Okay. Wonder if I can go back to this. Yeah, let's see what that does. Good. Okay. Oop. Something happened there. Sometimes I'll get little pops like that. Yeah, see that pop? Let's see. Ooh, where is that coming from? Let's take a look. Huh. Weird. Yeah, so I kind of do enjoy sort of this languid feeling. I'm a little bit worried about how this back is looking here. Let me just take a look at the keyframes in this area. Ooh, there's a lot. Whoops. So these central two don't really swivel, but this one does. So the interesting thing is the faster the animation is, the more particles are displaced, from what I can tell. It's really cool. Like it really does feel like water is coming off of the displacement itself. Like the after effects. Poor elephant in the back is getting zero attention. I know. Okay, so we'll do a little bit more with the ears, but I'm pretty close to calling it a day for now. So easy way to do that is right here, right? And I can just pull back further. Same with this one. Oh, what is that? What's happening there? Say I saw a little pop, little tiny pop. Okay, where is that happening? Huh. Okay, where's that bone? Cool. All right, I said 600. Let's stick to around the 500 mark. I don't actually think it needs too much more than that. Plus, I want to see what's going to happen to this chunkage here. This should have a little amount of animation on it. There we go. Go to the middle of that and pull in. All right. I'm going to save that. I'm going to play it all the way through. Say it's about here, 528. Hey, baby girl. So I'm kind of watching around the 300 mark how much she changes. So right around there. Yeah. She does feel a little bit more curious there, and then it'll loop back and forth between those points. As you can see, I gave it a little bit of a bounce there, a little bit of a floating quality. In fact, let me just check in on that and see. Yeah, let's continue doing that. So I'm just going to do that throughout, just a nice little, because that also gives the particles their life too. Anytime there's any kind of physical movement, if you're curious, that's all being done with the visual effects graph. I won't bore you with all the details in terms of going to Unity and doing all that, but okay. Hello, I see you. All right, I've put her through enough today, and what I have to do is export. animation, FBX, and it just runs through the whole thing. All right, how big is that file? It's not too bad. 1,500, 1.5 megabytes. All right, that's it for today, folks. I will get back to my social media break and have a lovely week. Take care, everyone.